because the game is loading up as we speak. First matchup is on Xel'Naga Caverns. Nadagast is a Terran, so is TorcH. Take us away.
Can you still hear me, Nada?
Yeah, we
I think
had the elimination process. We have a 7-map pool for this tournament. Shakuris, Last Temple, Scrap Station, Blistering Sands, Jungle Basin, Xel'Naga Cavern, and Metalopolis. There we go. And the players eliminated Shakuris, Lost Temple, Scrap Station, Blistering Sands, and then Nada chose to play the Xel'Naga Caverns matchup first. And the loser of this match will get the choice of the second map. We are live. TorcH starting in the top right, while Nadagast in the bottom left. Mirror matchup on this map.
I am?
Yeah.
Let me move my mouse to the
Awesome.
bottom. I am, like,
So yeah, here we go. Xel'Naga Caverns. As you probably know if you're watching this, it's quite a long rush distance. Only 2 spawn positions, so both of our players know where each other are at. And those 2 in the middle of the map, these 2 Xel'Naga towers are very key points to hold. You can definitely push the siege tanks down, and lots of interesting play that can happen on this map.
They can mute me.
Yeah, and a lot of short routes that are small, narrow, and you'll see a lot of siege tanks. And this might be one of the longer maps that we play today.
We shall see. Yeah, we had Shakuris Plateau and Lost Temple, and I believe Blistering Sands all were voted out of the map pool. So we have Metalopolis, Steps of War, and let's see, 1 or 2 more that can still be chosen from.
So TorcH got a gas first, actually, before his barracks, throwing his down a little bit after Nadagast, which, if we scout this, that could lead to some early aggression. Be interesting to see if the players go for an early expansion. That's come a little bit more popular in Terran builds of lately. At least that's how it seems watching the GSL.
And this gas first play by TorcH is something we've seen him do a lot. He likes to get that early reactor on his barracks and build a factory right away and go for early double Hellion push. Although I'm not quite sure that's what he's going to want to do in this matchup. Hellions do roast Marines quite well. TorcH, if you will, Marines. Actually, Nadagast coming in with the first scouting SCV. It's going to do a little bit of damage onto one of TorcH's, but no big deal. Now TorcH is going to get a look at what his opponent is up to. Nothing out of the ordinary so far whatsoever.
Yeah, the Marine out first, actually going to be able to chase that SCV down a decent amount, get him out of there. See if he just makes it for the hills. I know he's going to stay in this base just a little bit longer. Nothing really interesting to see, though. We'll see if once that probes at SCV is down, if Nadagast now chooses to go with his strategy, and he does. He drops his factory. So
I'm expecting to see 1-1-1, 1 barracks, 1 factory, 1 starport out of each of these players. I'm guessing that's exactly what they're both gearing up towards. Very interesting for TorcH. Very early Reaper, 1 Marine out, getting a Reaper now, so he will be able to hop up and down this long cliff here of Nadagast's base. So that's going to give him interesting scouting ability. However, Nadagast does have 3 Marines out already, so he does have a much larger army at this point.
Yeah, that Reaper is certainly good, as you stated, for just checking out the back, and that's exactly where he has it rallied to. And it looks like Nadagast is searching with his SCV just for anything strange real quick. Oh, he's going to position it behind his enemy's base. Going to get scouted by the Hellion, though. Actually, as the Hellion loops around. No, maybe not.
Actually, I think TorcH was sending out that Hellion for the exact reason, looking for proxy racks, anything proxy back in that area behind this tall grass. Oh, wow. TorcH's Reaper just barely, narrowly avoiding 5 Marines from Nadagast. 1 Reaper versus 1 Marine. The Marine is going to go down rather quickly. It's going to take a little sec for Nadagast to get his SCVs in there. TorcH should be able to get at least 3 kills. I think if he micros this correctly, 2 kills on that Reaper.
Good slowdown, though. And TorcH has 2 Hellions out, building that reactor. So it looks like he'll either... I don't know. He's got his Banshee coming out. We'll see if he, goes for a Cloak Tech or switches over and gets Medivacs. What exactly his plan is. I think we might
see that Cloak Tech. He almost has 200. Is it going to happen? Cloak. Maybe. No.
Oh, the scan throwing down.
It's a money scan right there.
Yeah. Scan right back on Nadagast. He sees the siege tank coming out and the medevac.
I feel like TorcH is in a very precarious position right now. He has such a smaller army compared to Nadagast. You go to the army tab, just a few food ahead for Nadagast, but much more powerful units on the field right now. Although TorcH is going to move out with these 3 Hellions, they might be able to do some effective 4 Hellions spread across the map right now.
Yeah,
so he's just going to use those to gain map control, get a good feeling of what's going on, where his opponent's units are at. Right now, Nadagast is playing rather defensively, just building a lot of units right now. So TorcH is not going to get too much info. Here comes the first Banshee, though.
Yeah, I think TorcH was actually trying to psych him out by using that cloak, or by, hyping the cloak. He's not even going to research it. Just going to send out this 1 Banshee to do some early air damage and actually force out a Raven from Nadagast, just being fearful of that cloak. Because he, until just a second ago, he didn't have a scan available. Excuse me.
Indeed, and I really like that Banshee play. He's not trying to do too much damage. He just wants to have the fear of the Banshee instilled into Nadagast's brain. It's a very smart play because even though Nadagast has a much larger army, he's forced to play defensive with those Marines that he does have. So now TorcH is capitalizing on that by expanding and building a command center, while Nadagast has not even started his natural expo yet.
Yeah, Nadagast is keeping that siege tank back there because he's just afraid. He's staying close to home, and he actually has a drop ship that's in the bottom right-hand corner of the map right now. It's got 2 Hellions and 4 Marines, which is a decent force, but TorcH also has a patrolling Viking on the side there. Very sharp play from him. He's definitely going to catch that drop coming in, and even 2 Marines at the edge of that base to help shoot down the medevac. So it's about to run into that Viking very soon here. And we'll see how quickly TorcH snaps on top of it. Yeah, there he is. He's got it already. Turning around. But that Viking not quite aggressive enough. The Marine's coming out and going to be able to protect that medevac. So at least he didn't lose his units without putting up a fight. In the meantime, TorcH does have that, second orbital command is built up. And he's got 2 siege tanks and is going to move down and take that expansion very soon.
Looks like Nadagast wants to make something happen. Starting to position his siege tanks in the field. I really like what TorcH is doing with all the Hellions. Keeping them alive, just keeping map control. And actually, he will have the economic advantage quite soon. So we'll see what he can pull off with that. I would expect to see the SCVs transfer over to the natural expansion in just a second. And looking at the resources tab, TorcH is up just 2 SCVs, but that lead's gonna grow in just a second.
Yeah, both players are definitely hunkering down for the long run. Setting up their siege tanks, getting in position. Oh, clash on the left side, and a good stuff there from TorcH. Those 4 units from Nadagast are out of position, trying to hold the tower, but nobody else is close enough nearby. Hiding some siege tanks by the rocks on that gold expansion. See if he tries to take it down or is just kind of parking them there for the moment. He has the right Zelnaga tower, so really good vision of what's going on. And
definitely an interesting unit composition for TorcH right now. You don't generally see Terran players get out so many Hellions that early on. So I like what he's doing right now. Let's take a look at the army tab for a second here. Looks like TorcH has actually pulled ahead in food by almost 10. So that early expansion is coming into play. And here's yet another expansion. TorcH going for the ballsy play. He wants those gold minerals.
Yeah, I think that's good. I mean, he's ahead in the army. He has, very strong control of that right Zelnaga tower. A drop coming in behind. The medevac just sneaking past that Viking. TorcH being a little sloppy there. Good aggressive play from Nadagast. And his 2 Hellions are going to get into the mineral line at the main. Good SCV micro, though, surrounding the Hellions. And I don't think they really took down too many units there. But a distraction to TorcH, but a distraction that's not being capitalized on. Nadagast doesn't really have any other units he's moving in. Starting to try to take that left tower now. But TorcH has a strong army on the right side.
Actually, I would say TorcH, almost losing his Hellions there. Looks like the Hellions will almost go down. Not quite. Actually, TorcH is in kind of a precarious situation. He has the slight food advantage right now, but he actually, because of that, a very effective harass by Nadagast. He's down in SCV count, and that's going to be a big factor moving forward. He's TorcH, that is just getting up his gold expansion, but he doesn't really have enough SCVs to saturate at this moment. So if Nadagast does decide to push in, he could deal some economic damage as well as do some real damage to TorcH's production capacity. Although he isn't in a very good position, that's a ton of siege tanks sieged up, and that bio is going to die so quick.
That was a really defining battle, and Nadagast has the advantage here. He doesn't really have enough regular troops to push in, although he's just up against one siege tank. If he just unsieged and move in, he could roll over that, and then clear out that gold expansion, which TorcH is just kind of like, if Nadagast pushed in right now, TorcH would just give up that gold expansion and walk away.
Well, Nadagast does know it's there. I'm actually surprised he's not moving in. That's a little bit of an error. He doesn't know how big TorcH's army is at this point, but he definitely could take that expansion out right now, and all those SCVs are in jeopardy as well, so TorcH has got him lift off his building right now.
Yeah, Nadagast just didn't want to try to shift his siege tanks to unsiege him and move up. TorcH, I like this. Actually taking his expansion over to the left side, but his rocks are still up, so I mean, Nadagast can still just walk around, go down the ramp, and kill that command center while it's still over there.
Ooh, I'm sensing an elevator play.
Yeah. There is a missile turret over there.
Right up on the ledge.
Yeah, he's just going to work far enough on the side to avoid that missile turret. A couple units going up first.
TorcH spots it.
Oh, what's he going to do, though, is the question.
So many siege tanks. Those siege tanks, if he came around back, he might be able to pick out one or two of those siege tanks in the back area. Actually, the TorcH has a mass amount of Vikings, so he's going to take out all of, well, many of these medevacs. That's actually a big play right there. Looks like he's going to
so many. Wow. Vikings do not work on the ground. Trying to push into those Marines and soldiers that were there. Trying to push in on these tanks now. Only one of them about to go down, though. Rest of them still firing away. No other troops. Oh, the Banshee. Banshee's going to clean house. Tank's going to have to fall back there. But that was a great attack by Nadagast. Now coming back up with Marines and Marauders and more tanks. He has control of that right Xel'Naga tower and the left. So in good position, just doesn't... Well, actually, he just... landed his third expansion by that gold, throwing up double refinery. We're going to be dropping a ton of mules on that very shortly. And TorcH, in the meantime, only has 2 SCVs mining his third expansion. And the small force on the left side of 3 Marines is going to mix that situation up and force him to abandon it once again. Nadagast's force is moving in, and I don't think TorcH really has the strength to counter this. He's got 2 Vikings, a Banshee, a couple medevacs, and really that looks like that's about it.
Yeah, this has got to be GG right now. If TorcH had more Marauders, he might stand a better chance taking out those siege tanks. Actually, multiple of the siege tanks, very little health, but TorcH just does not have the firepower right now. He's taking out all his SCVs. Let's see if he can survive with this final push of SCVs. I don't think it's going to work too well.
Too many tanks, good spread on them. They're staggered out, and those units just going down in big, huge balls of flame. Nothing left. GG. Wow.
GG. Jesus.
Yeah, nice job there.
Okay.
You're sneaky with the expos, man.
I just expoed a little bit before you.
Yeah, you guys are in our call now. Good game. Let's get a couple quick reactions. Nada, what were your thoughts on the play of your opponent, TorcH?
I think
very solid. Wait, of my opponent?
Yeah.
Are they asking me or Trevor? Who you asking?
I was asking Garrett your feelings on it.
I think he played good. The Reaper was really good at the start, I think, and I don't know. I think it just maybe was a little bit too greedy. I don't even know if he was too greedy on the third. I think he just let me get to positions where it was very hard for him to break. Yeah, that's what TvT is.
Mm-hmm. TorcH, your thoughts on the first map real quick?
I completely agree with Garrett. Really, I was just out of position, and he steadily expanded instead of me expanding quicker than him. But that allowed him to build up an army that was able to take out my third very easily. And then he had control of the game after that.
That was definitely a very critical amount of siege tanks that Nadagast was able to compile. Not bad play. You guys ready to move on into the next match?
Yep.
Alrighty, TorcH, it was his choice of map, and he has picked Jungle Basin, so I'm going to put the game together. If Shedder and Andy, you guys want to chat about that match and give your opinions on it.
Well, I mean, Shedder, that was a classic TvT. I mean, with TvT, it's all about being, like was said before with the casters, it's all about being in position and having the critical number of units that counters the unit of your opponent. And with TvT, there's only a certain amount of deviation that could go down. But I think Nadagast just had, quite a bit more siege tanks, and he didn't need the infantry because he basically, like was said by the player, TorcH mentioned that he was basically able to push into his base slowly, which is what TvT is all about. You expand, you get your macro up like insanely, and then you push on your opponent and try to get them out of position so that your tanks or Vikings can do that damage. Infantry is sort of supplemental, at least in the later in endgame. Of course, it's still important, but lot less important than those tanks. So I believe that the amount of siege tanks that Nadagast was able to produce really kind of won the game for him. So. Well, I mean, that's a good question because Jungle Basin is an interesting map. It's a little bit more difficult to grab that third. Either you got to be on that middle island, which is easy to attack from all sorts of angles, or you have to be a little bit farther into the map where the enemy can easily attack without your core base being able to defend that. So, I mean, I think this is going to be a little bit more of an early game battle, some 2 days play. And I think it's really a matter of scouting and making sure that Nada can, produce a build, and TorcH, instead of being as reactionary as he was after that early game pressure, that he may be able to, maybe have a decisive build that he can just go ahead 100% for and adjust slightly for the intel he receives from his opponent. But I think we'll see here, so let's get this going.
All right, thanks, Andy. Back into you guys. Fish next time.
All right, 5 seconds to go. Jungle Basin is the map.
Yeah, definitely. Andy brought up some good points of that third expansion is going to be a little tricky to move out because you either kind of share the middle aisle with your opponent or take the far right side. And we do have TorcH on the top side of this map and Nadagast on the bottom. I think TorcH had some good early aggression, as we saw with those Hellions, but he just wasn't quite able to. Excuse me, I had to burp. Quite able to make it work with the Reaper and keep the pressure on. That's the thing when you have those aggressive builds, you actually got to use your army for something.
Yeah, and TorcH really was, getting a lot of those units more for map control purposes rather than actually having a large army value. You saw by the end of the map, he had just a ton of Vikings, which seemed effective. He was able to take out 1 or 2 medevacs, but the sheer marine count for Nadagast kept those Vikings away, and they're really not great units when you land them. So TorcH just did not have the meatiness to his army that he needed. I think a few more Marauders could have been a really big help for TorcH in that last map. But again, this is a much longer map. It's one of the largest rush distances in the entire game, if not the largest. And it's a bit more difficult to use the very immobile siege tanks. I think this is actually going to favor TorcH's Hellion play, even more so than probably Xel'Naga Caverns did, because of the rush distance being quite so long.
Yeah,
and he's going for that Hellion play once again.
There are those back rocks at your expansion, so if you take those out, you can actually go through the expansion back into the main. So having the mobility of those Hellions definitely come into play here. Yeah, Nadagast, both players kind of doing the same build so far and sending out their scouting SCVs.
Again, almost identical to the last map. Nadagast is going to get a slightly earlier scout. TorcH getting a tiny bit of intel, seeing his opponent's scout with that Xel'Naga tower, but somewhat inconsequential. Nadagast making his way into TorcH's base. He's going to see that TorcH has the gas up. Well, actually, he could have done the gas at a normal time. So actually, this provides very little, if not no, intel to Nadagast coming in this late. TorcH again, really little intel as well. Really what it's going to come down to is how long they can keep those scouting SCVs alive, and TorcH loses his scouting SCV.
Yeah, Nadagast has pulled his out after he kind of ducked over to the side. It'll just be a little bit of a distraction. TorcH is going to be like, I really want to make sure I'm not getting cheesed by any crazy barrack play, but nothing is happening. So, yeah, Nadagast just continuing to pump out the Marines like last time. No double barracks, though. He is going for the factory as his second building. So he already has that on the way. But TorcH's is, of course, a little bit ahead of him due to that gas-heavy opener and picking that second gas up. His factory finishing right now. And
nice
Nadagast,
by Nadagast.
Yeah, actually sent his SCV back in, but kept it alive, as you mentioned.
Yeah, only taking one shot. So TorcH, again, is opting for mobility and scouting and map control over pure army value. Once again, Nadagast already has 4 Marines up. And TorcH is now moving out again with the Hellion and simultaneously the Reaper.
Yeah, that's a nice little combo. He's going to chase the SCV away from the Xel'Naga Tower, but then actually just ignore him. So maybe we'll actually see a little proxy action, or maybe he just tuck that SCV away in the corner. Moving his Marines over to the side, so he's expecting this Reaper now, and this Reaper's options really going to be limited. Starport going up right over there.
If we see Banshee play from Nadagast, that could be huge. No, instead he's opting for a medevac. That also helps with mobility on this gigantic map. Mm-hmm. And Nadagast getting his first tank is almost about to pop already. Here comes the Reaper by TorcH. 1 kill, maybe 2. No, just 1 kill for that Reaper.
Hellion on the
and
side.
In comes
at the
2
same
Hellions.
Time.
He could roast quite a few SCVs here.
Oh, going to take down the Mule too. It's just, at least distract it. Didn't quite get the kill. 2 kills on this last one that's about to go down. That siege tank, very crucial positioning on that. In the meantime, though, TorcH has his expansion going down, about 2/3 of the way finished. Now throwing down his starport, so he's a little bit behind in regards to the starport tech. And we'll see if Nadagast actually says, you know what, like I think he's not going to have a big enough army, and he doesn't. I mean, TorcH only has 2 Marines, a 3rd Marine had popped out, a Hellion, and he's not even building anything from his other factory. So if this Hellion gets a scout here, which it is off the, oh no, he's below the cliff, doesn't see this army, he does not see this coming in. This is going to be really bad for him.
Big GG.
Yeah.
I really don't like the fact that there's no bunker in the front of TorcH's base. I don't know what he can possibly do. Not even close to enough units popping out. That tank is just going to do so much damage against both the Hellion and the 2 Marines. I think this is GG already.
Yeah,
TorcH might have to rethink his early game strategies here.
I think so too. Now, this is, we are going to play all 3 maps regardless because this is a round robin format. We want to ensure that the differences between a 2-0 loss and a 2-1 loss are clear. So we are going to see a 3rd map here, even if TorcH GG's out of here very shortly, which, there's just no way he's going to win this. Oh, the siege tank sieged up, and the SCV is now surrounding it. He's doing a good job of, microing away from shooting the ones that are right by him. And that SCV, 12 health. Oh god, that siege tank just barely surviving it. Banshee's coming in though, and focusing on the Marines, not the siege tank. Viking, oh good job, picks up that siege tank. He's like, yeah, I'm just gonna take that home and make it all healthy and better. So TorcH comes through in the end.
He's able to defend, but I mean, for how long? His Banshee now has 2 health. Simultaneous kill.
Wow, that was really epic. I don't know if I've ever seen the double KO in Starcraft form.
Yeah, man, TorcH is just starting this game off with such a bad position.
Yeah,
he does have the 2nd orbital command, but I mean, if you go over to the income tab,
yeah,
it's rough, man. It's rough.
He's only ahead because of his mules right now, but one of them is about to die. And he really doesn't have a whole lot of energy, so it's going to be a while before he gets those going again. Trying to get that SCV count up as quick as he can, but I mean, it's 12 versus 26 with the other command center up. He's throwing down a missile turret just in case. And I mean, basically, I think he's just gearing up, getting ready to push out again. He's got 4 tanks this time, and throwing down 2 more barracks that are about to finish. See if he goes reactors on those, or what his plan is. He has the engineering bay as well, but no upgrades at the moment for Nadagast. But he's definitely in a huge lead right now.
And in 90% of situations, I would say Nadagast is making the obviously correct choice by just expoing and powering some SEVs out. And, you know, it's going to be the right choice in this game because he has such a large advantage. But I feel like if he just put on a little bit more pressure, he could have finished it for sure about 2 minutes ago. Right now, he's giving the opportunity to TorcH to pull something crazy off. I don't think it's going to happen, but still allowing for that opportunity. And I would like to see at least a bunker in TorcH's front. But even that would do absolutely nothing against this gigantic force. 4 siege tanks, a ton of Marines, and a medevac to boot. So
yeah, those siege tanks are going to eat those Hellions up. And the mobility of the Hellions isn't really that useful when the siege tanks are in your base, shooting all your buildings down. Yeah. And TorcH has his 3rd expansion going up on the left side, a cheeky little expansion, but I don't think he's going to live long enough to, you know, put it to good use. SCV's coming off the line. TorcH knows this is all or nothing. Hellions getting in close. Siege tanks for Nadagast, staying healthy though. Good micro with the rest of his Marines getting him behind the siege tank. 2 Vikings up for TorcH. And that's almost it though. Oh, is Viking gonna maybe take out this Raven? Nope, 17 health, and TorcH calls the GG. So it's on to the 3rd map, Metalopolis.
Another one-sided game, unfortunately. You always see something interesting from TorcH. You're never going to see him do a standard build, which, you know, plays into his favor sometimes and really not so much the others.
Yeah.
So,
go ahead, Ben.
I'd like to invite our hosts back in here, Andy and Chris. What's going on?
Hey.
Definitely can't bench you micro with delay.
Hello. Yeah, you know, that was an interesting game there. You know, we had an interesting build initially by TorcH, and you know, just a pretty straight one base timing attack by Nadagast. You know, which happened to be the perfect counter to what TorcH was trying to do there with his double port play, single barracks. You know, single barracks just wasn't able to produce enough units early on to defend that timing attack by Nadagast. So.
All right, and I'm not mistaken that we're playing Metalopolis last?
You do a super huge
Yes, sir.
harass like
Good
that
stuff.
and use it. Like,
All right.
it's a bit risky.
Mercy. Just waiting for you, Mr. Shedder, to get back into the game lobby.
I'm just getting my scoreboard in place here.
Okay, excellent.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was certainly quicker than I was expecting, but hopefully we'll get a good 3rd round in here. Gonna toss it back out to you guys, and let's get this one started.
All right, the countdown has gone live. 7, 6.
I guess we're just
One more Terran versus Terran for the night before we switch over to the Zealot versus Zerg. Sorry, excuse me, man. Zerg versus Protoss between Jaeger and Sickness. That's about to go. It's going to go live in an hour and 20 minutes from now. This last map, Metalopolis, we'll see where these players spawn. Looks like closer positions on the left side for TorcH and the top position for Nadagast.
Okay.
What?
Okay. Well, here we go with a 4 spawn position map. The first 2 maps so far have been only 2 spawn positions, so you know where your opponent is right off the bat. This is going to force out a slightly earlier scout,
You could probably beat
but
him, I think.
actually this is the closest we've seen our 2 players tonight so far. Very, very close positions right here on Metalopolis. So we'll see who scouts first and what they can do with that intel.
Yeah, definitely. And it's, you know, we'll definitely be interested to see if we see that refinery early from TorcH, if he uses that closer distance to actually apply a bit more pressure with those Hellions, get them out there early, or if Nadagast, again with those barracks just pumping out Marines, if that'll be enough to hold off the aggression. And looks like he is going refinery first once again.
Sticking with the same old strat. That's fine to do, man. You gotta hone your strategies until they work. One thing that I've noticed about TorcH's play in the early game is he opts for the tech lab on his barracks before pumping out any Marines. I think that's really what's putting him behind in the army count early on. He really loves that early Reaper.
Yeah.
But it's really not working out to his favor. So I'd like to see him get out a few more early Marines. Both scouting SCVs will pass each other right now. And in comes Nadagast to check out TorcH's base. He's going to see the same thing he's seen each time. And very similar for TorcH. Oh, if he gets up to the refinery, he'll see that he hasn't transferred his SCVs yet. No real intel.
Always
So
a little
Nadagast-
footsie in the beginning of the game.
And Nadagast able to get up that barracks just a tad earlier because TorcH opted for the refinery first. Also, his orbital command is a little ahead, so he's going to get that early Mew out as well. TorcH actually managing to keep his SCV alive this time. Nice on that, Trevor.
Every
Nice on
little
that.
bit counts. The factory already going down for TorcH in the blue. I think I switched their colors from what they were last game.
No biggie.
Yep, players didn't mind. And the factory going down for Nadagast. So similar builds from both players. It's just a question, it seems like TorcH's build is also open to doing, Banshees or going for some other unit. He is getting that Reaper out once again.
This time he's getting his second racks a bit earlier than previously. But again, the point of a Reaper is to scout and to gain map control. It's not to fight. And it's also to harass. So, I hate to say this, but Nadagast could push in right now and end this already, once again. So hopefully TorcH figures out a way to deal with this early pressure. I would suggest personally a bunker in his main, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
TorcH has also been going with really early expands with Nadagast, one basing it just a little bit more and then pushing in at that exact, crucial moment of, the expansion not really getting up to steam and, paying itself off and producing the minerals that it needs to also buy an army at the same time. TorcH getting early stim. I don't know if he really got stim this early last time, so it'll be interesting to see if that signifies a change in tactics.
Oh, great scout. Great intel gained right there by Nadagast. He sees that there are two Hellions on the field. He's positioning his troops for that reason. He also is intuiting that there's a Reaper out, although I don't think he ever saw it, and placing Marines in the back. And again, that early tank out is going to essentially nullify TorcH's Hellions. He really can't do much with them anymore, so I'm not sure why he's opting to get quite so many. I think that might be one of his biggest downfalls in this matchup. Oh, and TorcH is going for an all-in play.
Wow. Yeah, he's leaving a decent amount of SCVs at home. But, if he does a really good job of microing these Hellions and sending them back for reinforcements, actually, now is the time. Nadagast taking a Hellion and 3 Marines out. If he pushes in, this is going to be awesome with the Reaper. He's going to send it into the back, force a reaction, and then just move in right at the same time. Yeah, he's right on top of this tank.
Here we go. Tank is half health. Tank is almost down. In come the SCVs. Simultaneously, Nadagast is bringing forward medevac. TorcH is doing an insane amount of damage, actually able to take out almost all of the SCVs, but the SCVs repairing the tank. Looks like TorcH is actually going to be able to do a lot of damage. A tank popping, but it's going to go down really quickly. Only a few SCVs left for Nadagast. Nadagast's forces are melting, but there's a base trade, and the SCVs of TorcH now are what is getting owned right now. He's going to have to move those SCVs out and save what he can. TorcH is going to do as much damage as he can in the base of Nadagast. He has mainly Hellions left, and that's GG.
Calls it. Wow. That was a great change there. The shorter distance up at Metalopolis coming into play. And TorcH getting the pressure on with the Hellions. So let's bring the players in now, and let's.
Valkyries and racks did you have?
Only
All right.
rack one.
TorcH, Nadagast, you're on air. What's
You guys
going
are
on,
in the
guys?
cast now.
Hey.
What's up?
What did you think when you saw all those SCVs coming, Nadagast? I gotta ask.
I thought, God damn it, I wish I had siege mode.
Yeah, there was a good moment when your second siege tank popped out, and it was about like half health, and all of a sudden TorcH surrounded it with like 8 SCVs, just drilling it down. So TorcH, once you scouted the closer positions on this map, did you know that you could bring the same build that you were using? You just had to time your aggression a little bit better?
Well, my opening build actually, about the 5.5 minute mark, catches up to a regular build. It just gets me an early factory. So it's just like a style choice. It's not actually like a build order change. And once I scouted the close positions, I knew I could push if he didn't have a wall. Excuse me. And I scouted no wall, so I knew I could push, and I needed to get in like that key timing before he got siege mode, as he said. And it should be a pretty easy game.
Did you know that that Nadagast was taking a few of his units in a medevac at the same time, or was that completely unknown to you?
I did not know that, but that's happened to me before, and when it does, it's just like a really easy base trade, and I've saved up enough minerals that if I were to lose my entire base, I would actually be able to build a second command center in his base once both armies cleared out the bases.
Nice.
Nice.
Nadagast, do you think that would have gone a little differently if you hadn't taken those 3 Marines and 1 Hellion out in a medevac?
It would have gone a little different. I don't think I would have been able to hold it though. I need siege mode, I think, to hold that. I really needed to scan, but my third 50 energy on my orbital, I used a mule, and then right after that, I was like, I was supposed to scan with that. So I don't know. If I had scanned, that would have. I probably needed a bunker in siege mode to hold that, because that was a lot of units.
Bunker definitely helps.
Yeah, bunker would have been really good. Probably even just a bunker. You only had like 1 or 2 Marauders, and then the rest Marine, Hellion, SCV?
Yeah, because I lost that Reaper early, scouting. If I don't, then the bunker goes down pretty quick, actually.
Yeah.
So Trevor, I noticed over the course of this series, you open your TvT in a very risky manner. Would you say that what advantage does having the early Hellion and early Reaper give you that couldn't be? Or I mean, I felt like you were so vulnerable to either a early Marine timing or siege tanks getting up. Why do you choose to go for the Reaper and Hellion?
Well, there's a bit of debate in the Starcraft house, actually. They're just like completely baffled by what I'm doing right now. But in my opinion, it's actually not unsafe at all. If someone does an early Marine push, they come in just as you get your Reaper up, which is able to counter the Marines enough to get your Hellion out, and then you pretty much win the game because Hellions destroy Marines. Against an early tank, if they go tanks, you can go tanks faster if you actually choose to. So it looks weird, but it actually is a lot safer than you think. And it gets you the early scouting that you need, and you can adapt depending on what your opponent's doing, which I didn't do in Game 2, but the build allows you to.
Okay.
I think the Reaper is pretty, it's not, I don't know if I'd call it standard, but I've seen it a fair amount, and I've done it some. But I haven't ever really seen the Reaper plus Hellion combo.
The real different thing about what I do is the gas before barracks.
Yeah, I guess.
And it delays your barracks by like 5 to 10 seconds, but in the grand scheme of things, it all balances out by like the 5.5 minute mark.
Awesome. Well, any final words from you guys? Any other questions, my co-host?
You guys for running this, and thank you to the sponsors and everything else.
Yeah, let's do a quick shout out for the sponsors. Of course, NVIDIA, donating a GTX 460, the perfect StarCraft 2 GPU, and Patriot Memory, the leading company in SSDs and advanced memory solutions, as well as media servers. So go ahead and check both those companies out, NVIDIA.com and PatriotMem.com. That's PatriotMen, or excuse me, MEM. So thanks again for the sponsors, and great games, guys. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, games.
Yeah, go ahead with shout outs from the players. Why don't we start with the winner of this matchup, 2 maps to 1, Nadagast. Any shout outs from you?
Shout out to my sponsor, Nerd Stomper, and shout out to Angela. That's it.
Awesome.
Nice.
Thank you.
Nerds with females. I like that.
And Trevor, from you.
Well, obviously I need to say shout out to Startail, my Korean pro team, sponsored by Zowie Gear, and then also VTGaming.net, my American home. They're doing a lot of great things on the American scene. Check them out if you get a chance. And then I guess I have to plug my girl as well. So Seltzer, please. Thank you for all the support and everything.
Yeah, Rachel's rule. No doubt there.
So a bit of XTF tours clashing in StarCraft 2. Thanks for tuning in for this first matchup of the night.
Yeah, we are going to have Jaeger versus Sickness coming up in an hour and 10 minutes. And then tomorrow, these players are going to be playing another 3-map series, with Nadagast playing the earlier series against the Protoss Jaeger, and TorcH playing the later series against the Zerg Sickness. Those two players being the ones who are playing tonight. And unless there's any final words from the man Shedder, we are going to be out of here. We'll see you guys again very soon. Shedder, take us out.
Thanks, Fish and Eckstein. Let's see. I've got the current standings right here. We got Nadagast at 2-1, TorcH at 1-2. Obviously, not much else has happened yet. We're going to be back on the air in just about an hour with the second of our matchups tonight between Sickness and Jaeger. So we hope you'll rejoin us when we hop back on air then. But until then, unless you've got anything left to say here, Andy.
You know what, Shedder? I think I'm right with you. I think great games and ready for the next series. So,
all right, we're going to take a short break here, but leave the stream up so you can camp out if you'd like. But we'll be back up right around midnight Eastern, and that's 9 p.m. Pacific with Sickness and Jaeger. We very much hope you'll join us then. But until then, this is Shedder signing off for the team for TGBF. You've been watching the Starcraft Showdown, presented by TGBF and sponsored by NVIDIA and Patriot Memory. Catch you at midnight.